Chairman, you can call the meeting.
Good afternoon. My name is Raymond Skinner, Chairman of the DCHA Stabilization and Reform Board, and I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is the regular monthly meeting of the District of Columbia Housing Authority being held today, November 13th, 2024. This meeting is being held via WebEx video conferencing, and the board is here live and in person. The time is now 1:03 p.m. At this time, I'd like to call for a moment of silence to allow for personal reflection. Thank you. Today's meeting is our regularly scheduled meeting, and we have invited members of the public to sign up to speak via our website. For those who would just like to view the meeting, can do so live via the DCHA website linked to Facebook Live. The Board of Commissioners welcomes constituent input on matters of public concern and offers you today an opportunity to express your views during the public testimony portion of this meeting. However, we require members of the public who attend our meeting to abide by certain rules of decorum to allow the board to complete the business before it. For this virtual meeting, DCHA asks that you remain muted until you are instructed to speak. Members of the public cannot engage in any disruptive conduct or loud, threatening, or abusive language during the board meetings. This includes any loud outbursts or shouting during times when you've not been invited to speak. Anyone who violates these rules will be removed from this virtual meeting. Serious or repeated violations of the rules may result in your being barred from speaking at future board meetings. However, we do appreciate your interest in the matters before us today, and I want to thank you in advance for abiding by these rules of conduct. At this time, I will ask for a roll call to determine if we have a quorum.
Sure. Denise Blackson.
Present.
Thank you. Rosa Burbridge. Leroy Clay.
Here.
Jim Dickerson.
Present.
Thank you. Ronnie Harris.
Present.
Katrina Jones.
Here.
Melissa Lee.
Present.
Thank you. Chris Murphy.
Present.
Jennifer Reed. Teresa Silla.
Present.
And Chairman Skinner.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I'd like the commissioners to consider the minutes of the October 9th, 2024 board meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, so the minutes will stand approved as presented. Okay, now next on our agenda is the executive director's report, and I'm going to turn it over to our executive director, Pettigrew.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Those who don't know, this is actually my 1-year anniversary officially.
Yes. Congratulations, you made it.
Or that.
You survived.
Put me in a time machine, man, send me back, right? But it's been a heck of a year. Sort of expressed some things before in previous board meetings about how fast the time went, but how slow it went as well, right? It's been a whirlwind, but I think it's been a very rewarding one for my team, in terms of trying to get our arms around such a complex organization, large as it is, with all of the issues that they have. Before I get started, I just want to commend the staff for getting through this year. Obviously, change is difficult for a lot of people, and a lot of people don't like it. But I think that, we've continued to push through it, and we've continued to little by little tackle various issues, putting out fires every day, and just trying to improve the culture and the service that we provide to residents, which is truly our mission. And so, about the team, I was telling somebody the other day, they were like, you're a pretty good leader. I said, listen, you can only be a leader if people want to follow you, So I just want to thank the team for the record, for following me for this past year, because it's been a very unique and interesting one, to say the least. Now, normally I'll go through some numbers in the executive in the report, and we can probably take questions afterward. But I think it's important that I sort of highlight some of the things that have been done over the past year, right? I mean, there's been a lot of work that's been done that some people may not know about. But more importantly, I want to do this too because of the staff, because of what we've been through for this year. And I know how much hard work they put in to get us to a space where we're starting to feel a little better about ourselves. One of the good things that came out of the oversight hearing, the most recent one, was, and we had several residents show up and talk positively about the changes that they've been seeing. And so that felt good, especially for my staff to hear, because, when you're in something like this, peace makes cowards of us all, right? I think everybody's a little exhausted getting through this year. So much on our plate, not only from this regular daily routine work, but then putting out fires here and there, and then meeting all of the other demands that are outside of us in terms of the operation, reports, council members, the whole ball of wax. So, and I want people to understand that while everybody wants what they want when they want it, it's not like we're not working hard. Every day we work hard, and yeah, we may miss some things, and sometimes I feel like the staff was a little beat up, but I think that we're turning a corner. I just want people to understand that we do need to be very, we need to manage expectations here. Right? I mean, we're here, we're accountable. We don't run from any issue. I think we tackle them as best we can. We're not perfect, but we'll get there. But I like the progress that we've made. But I just want people to understand that, the staff, they've been working extremely, extremely hard. And so I just want to make sure that I put that out there before I touched on some things in general for the year. So with that, I want to touch on several areas of operations and just give you some highlights of some of the things that have been done for the past year. So I'll start with the HUD report. And I know initially HUD had given us a May 31st deadline, which we all kind of knew was a very unrealistic. Even when we met with HUD, we told them that, there were certain things, just given our experience, that wasn't going to happen by May 31st. And as we move forward, obviously, given that HUD has sent the letter talking about the progress we've made and how they're very pleased with what we've been doing, we've now worked with HUD to work out a new deliverable date early next year, to close out all of the items. Just so you know, I think it's about 19 items left, but a lot of those are tied to the ACOP, the admin plan, which we will be finalizing beginning early part of next year as well. So that's a good sign. And the good part about the conversation with HUD was they pretty much said, listen, yeah, some of the powers that be are starting to realize that some of that stuff, you guys are right, wasn't realistic to deliver at a certain point in time. And so we've come to, I think, a meeting of the minds about how we're going to close all of this out by early next year, just so you know. The recovery plan, obviously, that we put out, we're in the second quarter of the performance of the recovery plan. And so the staff, I think, truly have appreciated the fact that while we pushed them to get one done, they now do have a roadmap, particularly when you're in such an environment where everything is a priority and everything is coming at you at the speed of light. It's always good to be able to go back to something that you've laid out for yourself as a sort of a roadmap for how you're going to get through your department and attack all these challenges. I tell the staff all the time, I said, I'll never forget years and years ago, when I first started working in government and I was dealing with this reduction of force stuff with the whole government. Back then, I'm telling my age right now, but they used to have what they call bump and retreat rights, where literally if you worked in the police department for 10 years and you went to the fire department for 10 years, if you got terminated from the fire department because of RIF, you could bump somebody out of the police department. And so, and all that was done by hand back then. That's how long ago this was, right? And I'm walking down the hall, this guy says to me, he says, young fella, you look troubled. I said, man, it's a lot going on. He says, listen, just keep it in front of you, right? And I never really understood what it meant, but it always sounded great, particularly when you're in the mix of stuff, right? So I try to tell the staff to keep everything in front of them, and the plan helps them keep everything in front of them to this point. So we're excited about that. The 6-month report will be coming out in January for those 2 quarters. I'm supposed to share some stuff with you guys about the first quarter that we're putting together, so I can share with you guys. You can see some of the stuff. that's
You
been-
guys being the board.
Yes, the board, I'm sorry. Yes. I'm sorry, so I should be so informal, right? So that's gonna be coming soon, but the plan was done, it was completed, and the staff have embraced it. And I think they appreciate the exercise and actually the actual document now, given what we have, so. ITD, technology and software upgrades. Mike Buck and his team have been working extremely hard in upgrading our systems as we move along. We got some other things coming online at the end of the year. But Mike's team has been great with regard to getting finance up and running, getting certain systems up in HCVP. There's some new software coming online for public housing. So technologically, we've been moving at the speed of light to get stuff done. So that's been done.
So this is the Yardi system
Yep,
that,
yep.
that you're.
Well, one's a
Some
Yardi system, yeah.
modules of Yardi.
Most of it's Yardi,
Yep.
but there are other parts of it too, so other systems as well. Obviously, one of the things that we did to try to improve customer service as well as accountability was bringing staff back to work. The return to work policy that was implemented last April. And so I think staff are sort of acclimated now to being back to work. And I'm pleased that, things are sort of coming together a little bit there. Customer service has always been an issue for us, and we got a long way to go in terms of customer service. But we did complete our customer service training for all the staff this year. And we're gonna be doing it annually, as we continue to try to improve our services to the residents and be more customer friendly. MTW. So the HUD office, approved our 2025 MTW plan. As a matter of fact, they visited the office last week, and it was an excellent visit. They are extremely pleased where we are. They actually acknowledged the fact that that whole substantially service, they said, listen, Keith, we know that with everything else you got on your plate, we knew you weren't gonna move the needle on that this year. But they're looking forward to some of the things that we're doing next year. They're extremely excited about our new hire, Nicole Barrett, who's gonna be the new MTW coordinator. They worked with her in the past and they were like, wow, you got Nicole? And I'm like, yeah, man, people wanna come do good work for us, so they were very pleased with that. And like I said, the plan was approved. And Grace Campion did an excellent job pulling it out. Because I don't know if you guys remember, but Hannah Horner used to handle it.
Yes.
But when we brought everybody back to the office, she left. And so, we convinced Grace to come join the team. Grace has been here before, and so she came back and joined the team. She's actually now the director of asset management, but she helped us pull the MTW plan together and HUD has approved it. So we're in a really good space there.
Great.
And fiscal management and finance. Obviously, one of the biggest things that we've done over the past years, get 21, 22, and 23 audits submitted. 21 and 22 have been approved. 23 is pending HUD's approval, but we anticipate that approval coming down relatively soon. So the fact that we've gotten 3 audits done in several months, I think is a yeoman's task, and Heather and her team need to be commended for it. Obviously, the fact that these audits were outstanding caused some other things to happen. In particular, now we're doing this financial audit that the city, I guess, has asked us to do because of the failure to submit these audits. So, that these audits being done and submitted and approved, I think is a heck of an accomplishment. It's given a short period of time that we've had to do it in. So, financial upgrades and financial management system. Again, their finance is in the new Yardi system, and they're going to be adding other modules, but they're up and running into the system now. We're doing the budgets out of that. So I think that's a heck of an accomplishment to get to that point where we now can do, property by property budgets and monitor actuals for properties and manage our assets much better, knowing where we're spending, what properties are losing money, and that way we can figure out how to pivot and take care of them. Also, obviously, the financial reports by AMP being done now, which was never done before. So that's going to give us a better opportunity of how we manage our properties. And then obviously, the budget, we did a balanced budget for 2025 that you all approved. So those are some accomplishments in the financial area. Public housing, man. All right. So obviously, it's all about unit turns and sustainability and just putting these properties back together in a space where residents feel comfortable about where they're living and making them more livable. So obviously, we started out with the emergency procurement to bring on as many vendors as possible to turn more units. That was a mandate when I walked in the door, was get utilization up on both sides of the house, the public housing side as well as the voucher side. And once I got here and walked the property and saw certain things, I realized that the only way to do that was to get more horses on the ground. And thanks to you all, the board, for approving the procurement. We hit the ground running in January. To date, we've turned approximately 800 units. And so as you see, the utilization has gone up from 74 to 84. I know some of that people look at the denominator, but the denominator is what it is based on the HUD rules and how we operate. But we are housing more people, which is a good thing, based on the numbers that I saw. And obviously that's ongoing. We're at 84% occupancy right now, which is really good for us only because of nothing else. It obviously affects our operating funds that we get from HUD. So the higher the percentage of utilization, obviously, is always a good thing. And so the goal was to get to 80% by September 30th. We were above that in September, and we're at 84%, 84.5 right now. So and kudos to Jackie, Zaldana and her team and all the other staff, PMO staff for, managing all these moving parts. We got a lot of vendors out there doing work for us. And it's not an easy job managing all of that stuff. And, certain things happen when you got so many moving parts. But the team has stayed as focused as possible. And yeah, some things do happen. We get complaints about some vendors versus others, and we've shut down some vendors. So, but overall, I think we're in a really good space in terms of turning units and continuing to push toward getting into the 90s going into next year. So, also, I was quite pleased with the Inspire inspections. Having walked these units when I first arrived, a lot of these units are in extremely bad shape. And so, but we knew that they were coming, and I tried to get them to back off and doing any inspections based on the reality that these units hadn't been serviced for so long. I mean, and obviously COVID had a lot to do with that too, right? And so, but HUD wanted to push forward. And so 53 properties were inspected. Out of the 53 properties, only 15 failed, which to me was a pleasant surprise, given some of the conditions of these units. So kudos to the team as well as some of the vendors who helped out in getting these units prepared for these inspections as we go forward. And obviously, now that we have more resources on the ground to be able to assist us with these units in terms of repairs and upkeep and work orders, we would hope that number will rise next year. And look forward to that.
So these were HUD inspectors.
Yeah.
And they're using the, I guess it's new now, what they call Inspire.
Yes.
Which is some new characteristics that they look at.
Yes.
In terms of evaluating the unit. And so going forward, how often will HUD come in and do inspections, and how many?
So it depends on the score. And I forgot, I don't know if you know, Nicole, but a certain score, they'll go away for like 2 or 3 years. But if you're in another score category, they come back every year. So you know what the threshold is?
So those properties, good afternoon, Nona East Property Management Operations. If a property scored over 90, then HUD won't be back for 3 years. If it scored 80 and above, they'll be back every 2 years. And then those that scored 70 and below, they'll be back every year.
To those same 58 properties? Okay.
Yeah, it depends, yeah. So some of them won't be, and I can give you the breakdown of the scores, but some of them, they won't come back for 3 years. Some of them, they'll come back next year, depending on what way it fell. So. ACVP, obviously the biggest thing for us, number one, was to get folks back to work so that people can be serviced. It's obviously, as you guys have seen, it's a very complex program with a lot of moving parts. And then you tap and then you throw on top of that the local side of the house with these vouchers. And you can imagine that this is a huge undertaking. And so we've been working hard to try to improve the local side. We got a long way to go in terms of coordination. Just when I think that maybe we've got our arms around it, something else happens. And so, but I will say this, the utilization rate has improved. We still need to work out some of these bottlenecks with regard to our coordination with some of these third parties and nonprofits as well as DHS. And so we're hoping to sit down at the end of the year, as we did last year when I met with them, to talk about, these actual processes and how we do this job. It's this local thing, man. It's an amoeba. That's how I sort of describe it, right? And so the goal is to get our arms around that as quickly as possible. I know that some of the commissioners are extremely concerned about that, and so are we. So it's not like we take it lightly. On the federal side, we're pushing to get to 83% utilization by the end of the year. We're at 86% now. They son 86. Obviously, we got quite a few vouchers on the street, and we're pushing to get those leased up as quickly as possible, just so we can continue to drive that number up. Or if nothing else, our funding, but also just to house people. Rent reasonableness. Obviously, that was a huge issue before I even started. And so, obviously, AffordableHousing.com was brought on last July before I started. So we've run rent reasonableness on all of the units that we have on vouchers. And I don't think I shared with you all that we put them into 3 pots. One was units that were under the rent reasonableness, units that met rent reasonableness, and then the ones that appear to be overpayments. And so the overpayment ones, we're working with HUD to go back and re-inspect those and then run the rent reasonableness again, because we may have missed some paperwork in the past, and if that makes it rent reasonable, some things we may have to go back and adjust. So we told HUD we'd have a final analysis of those that were over by the end of the year. And then we will sit there with them and talk to them about what the next steps are going forward. So we're close to being completed. I think it's about another 300 units that need to be inspected.
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, it's less than that, sir.
Say what now?
It's actually less than 138.
Okay. All right.
So you went back and ran rent reasonableness on all of our vouchers?
Yes, all our federal.
All our federal vouchers,
Yeah.
right. Now, how many, 11,000 something?
Yeah, it was actually 12,000 something.
Okay.
And about 2,200 came back appearing to be over.
Okay.
But again, like I told, we had to go back and re-inspect them. They may miss some amenities, a lot of things get missed. And so they redid the forms. And then we're gonna run rent reasonableness on them again, and then we'll come back with the analysis. We'll share with you guys. So, and I'm hoping to have it, don't hold me to it. I'm hoping to have it by the December board meeting, since we don't have a January one. So
Sorry. So Commissioner Jones speaking, what happens after that? You said you have about 2,200?
yeah, we have to go back and respect. So
Right, so after you re-inspect, and then that 2,200 hopefully will drop down to another number, and then what happens?
that's when we're gonna sit down with HUD so we can figure out what happens. We're not gonna be able to make that decision on our own. So, and then they wanna know. So that's when we'll come back and share the results with them, and then we'll meet with them to try to figure out what will happen going forward. I will say this for the record, and I know Amy's been on the record too. And one of the things that they talked about when we first met with them was, hey, taking that money back.
Take money back.
The only caution about that is, and I was on the record then, I'm on the record now, is that I don't want to poison my landlord pool. Now, how it happens, it happens, but, we're doing everything we can to keep landlords on the program and bring more to the program. So something like that has a cause and effect, but we'll see what we got when we get there. So, yes, sir.
Question about that. Is this also what we've said because of our moving to work status, we wouldn't have to pay anything back to HUD?
I like it.
Sort of.
Because I know this has come up. Okay. Okay, I apologize. Okay.
Yeah. But
Okay.
all right, so moving right along. Capital programs. One of the things was building capacity in the capital programs area, not only the development side of the house, but also the construction side of the house. So, we split them up. And so Sheila Miller is over the development side of the house, and they're doing a great job at the NCI stuff with Lincoln Heights and helping us now push through with some of the NCI projects. Obviously the Ashbury, the ribbon cutting is next week, Park Morton, and then obviously we got stuff to do with Kenilworth. But also on the construction side of the house, we needed to do a lot of cleanup and restructuring over there because of some of the money that we get from the city in order to do some of these rehab projects, and things weren't as organized as they probably could have been. And I'm not knocking anybody who was here beforehand. It's just that, we needed to sort of get our ducks in order with regard to what we were spending money on, what we were doing, what the schedules were. And I think Jackie Zaldana has done an incredible job reorganizing the place and getting us back in a regular space where the money's being appropriated appropriately. And these projects are moving. The stuff that they're doing over in Langston is incredible. HUD took the HUD MTW office, went over to Langston, and so some of the work that her and the team are doing over there. From an OCP standpoint, the capital program, I think we're in really good hands right now with Jackie. The NCI projects, which I just touched on with Sheila and her team, they're pushing those through now. I think we've gotten our sea legs under us from that standpoint. So we feel like we're in a really good space in terms of managing that. And also, one of the things we're going to be doing, I think at the December training, are we doing a December training, right, for the board, right? Education training?
Yes, we're
Okay.
gonna do it.
And so, we'll be doing an education training on some thoughts about the development pipeline. I know you guys have been waiting for it. But we were still trying to take care of the operational side of the house. Some of the team have been working behind the scenes to sort of try to identify some ways, and we want to share some of the thoughts with you as a board first. And before we share it with anybody else, obviously, and get you all's feedback on what we're thinking, before we get out on the road and start talking to other folks.
So you mentioned the NCI projects, one of which was Park Morton
Mhm.
and,
Yeah, Lincoln, the Prairie Farms, I'm sorry.
right, yeah. But on the Park Morton, also tied to that was the, what's it called, Bruce Monroe property, which I understand now we can move forward with. So I didn't see anything in your plans in terms of what would happen to this. I mean, I remember originally how it was supposed to be used. Is that still?
Sure. So Sheila Miller, Director of SCAPA Programs. With respect to Bruce Monroe, it still requires council approval. The disposition authority for Bruce Monroe expired about a year ago. And so they're going through the process of submitting it to council for approval. So it's not quite a done deal yet. We were past the zoning approval, which was a big hurdle, and it's tied up the project for about 2 or 3 years, but maybe longer. But now we just need council to approve the disposition authority.
Also, one of the other things that sort of flies under the radar, and maybe Sheila can expound on this more, is that, we have the capacity to issue new market tax credits. And I know some of you may know what they are. But we had 55 million that we've fully allocated, right, for 2022.
We were granted 55 million in 2021. We have right now we have about 33 million unobligated. However, we have 3 transactions that we will be bringing before the committee before the end of the meeting. One is with I don't know if I should say it, but we have one that's a service provider for respite care. It's a charter school, and the other is a grocery store. Our consultant is doing underwriting, so more information to follow, but with those 3, that would gate the remaining dollars, so we would be fully commit to the 55 million that we granted 2 years ago.
So I know there was a timeline by which we had to get that done. I thought that it had already passed. Did we get an extension or?
No, so it impacts our ability to get an additional allocation. So as you're aware, we did not get an allocation for
Right, this last.
However, now that we're committing the dollars and getting those transactions closed to commit the 55 million, we can now start to work on our application for the next round, which is due in mid-January. So I'll be working with the director and team on just strategy on moving forward with the new most tax credit allocation under his leadership.
And the final area I want to touch on is sort of leadership and communications, obviously. One of the great things about doing projects like this that makes me run toward challenges is the opportunity to build it back, right? I mean, and it takes a team to do that. And so I think that, to this date, we've done a pretty good job in trying to recruit capacity, not only at the leadership level, but at lower levels. I think people are starting to get excited about what they see and what we're doing, and that they see that we're making progress. And people want to join the team. And so I feel really good about where we are from a recruitment standpoint at this point. And not just the leadership team, but other lower levels of management, as well as just people that just want to join the team. We had one of the landlord liaisons reached out to me on LinkedIn and said, "Hey, I want to join what you guys are doing." And lo and behold, now she's here. right? So it's that kind of energy that's starting to permeate a little bit. So again, I want to commend the team for doing a good job and getting us to a space where people now want to come work here, you know, and they want to be part of a project that to help people. Another part of leadership communications, obviously, is his relationships with the board members. Oh, man, what is it, 11 different personalities? You know, I know this year's been challenging for all of us, right? But it's been rewarding. And I've been trying to figure out each one of you in my own weird way, right? To make sure that I don't do anything to piss you off, right? But also always trying to solve the problems, right? I'm trying to be responsive as best I can. But you know, it's refreshing because you're so diverse, right? And I mean diverse. So, but I hope that, you know, obviously this past year's been rewarding for you all as well, in building that relationship. And I guess the one thing I am glad about is that, you know, you guys are going to be on for another year to keep the continuity going. Because I think that's extremely important. Because you don't want to start learning new personalities at all, right? And then obviously my relationship with city council members and mayor's office and some advocates, you know, I've tried to build up relationships. I've learned over the years in various housing authorities that housing authorities cannot exist in a vacuum. You know, you need to build relationships and partnerships. That's the only way that you're going to get out of situations that we're in right now. And so I continue to try to build partnerships. And most of the people that I've talked to, they all tell me, hey, man, we're rooting for you, you know, and whatever we can do to help you, we will. So, and I have not seen anything different than words. So, and actually, Robert White even gave us a compliment at the last oversight hearing. He said, this is one of the best oversight hearings he's ever presided over. And I guess it has a lot to do with the residents coming forward and talking about the changes that they're seeing and the improvements that they're seeing. So, so hopefully we can continue that. And then finally, the residents themselves. You know, when I first interviewed for the job, I always get this line from Gladiator, right? Where Maximus, and they're going back to Rome, and Proximo says, what do you want? And he says, I want my freedom. And he says, win the crowd and you'll win your freedom. And my crowd is the residents. And if I win the residents, then I'm in a really good space. But that means taking care of them, showing them that you care and doing the work that needs to be done. And so I feel real good about where we are with them because they've been neglected for so long. Yeah. And I think it showed at the oversight hearing. I was really excited and pleased that they came out to support us because we've been working hard. So I think we've done a pretty good job building relationships with residents, and we're going to continue to build on that as we go forward. So. Solid.
Okay, well, first of all, congratulations for making it through.
I don't know, but congratulations on it, man.
For 1 year. Maybe condolences or. But, you know, and I'll speak for myself and other board members can chime in as they would like, but I think you've really done a great job, one, in pulling together a good team, a really good team. You know, you came in, you saw what a number of the issues were, and you reached out to people that you've, in a lot of cases, have worked with in the past, and that you know what their capabilities are, and you were able to get them to come on board and, as you say, be part of a team that's trying to move this agency forward. And I think the accomplishments that you rattled off speak for themselves, but I can say on behalf of the board, on behalf of myself, I won't speak for the whole board, that I think you've done a really, really great job. And, you know, the problems are massive, and we just, you know, we still have a long way to go, but we can see a lot of progress that have been made in the last year. And so next year from now, when we come forward, I think we'll be able to see a lot more progress. And again, thank you for, first of all, coming to work with us and for your leadership and what you've done in this last year. Anyone else?
I would just like to second everything that the chair just said. And I'll also add that, as you noted, the hearing is just an example of what we see. I think that when we're in these board meetings and the feedback that we get from the community, there's still work to be done. But it is a very different atmosphere than it was before you came on board. And I'm a firm believer that we live our lives making sure that when we enter a space that we leave it better than we came in. And I think that you have already demonstrated that you are creating a better space than it was than when you came in. So thank you.
Anyone else? Go ahead.
Commissioner Jones, just wanted to acknowledge your hard work and your effort and your commitment to the residents and also your commitment to getting to know the commissioners individually, not as a collective. And so that you understand sometimes when we're asking questions, you know, we too are passionate about the residents and we all, right, yeah. So I do want, you know, you to understand that and everybody else to understand that when we're asking the questions, the hard questions sometimes, the difficult questions, and we follow up and we continue to follow up, that we're just as passionate as you are. So with the board's passion and your passion, I think that only leads to success.
A lot of passion.
Yeah. Something good comes out of that.
I know, right?
Right? Yeah.
So I don't want to let you get off that easy because I.
Yeah, I want to,
Right.
I'm sorry, Jim.
yeah, I'd like to ditto that. A lot of times for me, how I gauge progress is in little things, like responsiveness to when residents have a crisis or there's a problem. And, you know, an agency this large, you can't go without having stuff fall through the cracks sometimes, or it's delayed or whatever. But it has been easy for me to get in touch with the principal people in the agency, and they resolve the problem. They go for the problem. They're not, you know, that's what I see. I see people working, and I see a change in the culture, and I see a change in the residents. But we still have ways to go. We say that, but I just want to give my kudos along with the rest. And you know, and so keep it up.
Hi,
Commissioner.
this is Commissioner Blackson here.
Okay. Go
And
ahead.
hello, everyone. Director Pettigrew, you and your team, you know, I always give you all your accolades. I deal directly with a lot of the residents and at a lot of community engagement, and people make me aware of the change that they're seeing within DCHA in general. I too want to share accolades on being able to just reach out to direct people. It doesn't matter if it's a late night, weekend, holiday, whatever it is, when I've called or an emergency arises or whatever the situation may be, it's always a great response from you or your team in a timely fashion. And I want to tell you, I've lived in the public housing side and the voucher side, and I've experienced a big difference with this team here. And I thank you on behalf of myself and our residents.
Commissioner Reed or Commissioner Lee, have any comments?
Yes, thank you. I just want to echo the sentiments that have been shared from the board. I know that you all have had a lot of work ahead of you, and you acknowledge the challenges that still remain, that I appreciate very much. And particularly with my role on the finance committee, I just also want to acknowledge, as you shared earlier, the really extraordinary work done by Heather and her team to get us up to speed and get caught up. It's been an incredible level of effort. And so really appreciate and can definitely see the shift in the sentiment of the residents, and hearing from our resident commissioners that residents are feeling the change is very exciting. So look forward to working with the board and the director and all the leadership that you've brought in.
Commissioner Lee?
Director, I'd like to wish you a happy one-year anniversary, but also to thank you for just really stepping into a role. A year ago, it just felt really heavy. We were facing a lot of challenges, not things that are insurmountable, but just a lot. And you've put together a team that has worked very diligently to one activity after another, pull things together. I know there's still a long road ahead of us, but most importantly, I'd like to acknowledge the work you've done with the residents. They are the priority, and you've done a really wonderful job there. And again, you and your team have just done an amazing job, one activity after another in a heads down kind of manner, just really knocking down one boulder after another. And I know it has not been easy. So thank you to you and to your entire team.
Okay, so, I'm sorry, Commissioner Silla.
I congratulations on when you're on board. I do really appreciate the heart with which you work. I think that comes across in a lot of different ways. Especially, I think the resident feedback and concerns, it means that you are centering them and that you are working on that. And for that reason, I work very hard to be patient. But I want to really highlight to you, I'm not happy. I think you are not doing right by the Committee on Operations and Administrative Services. That is one of the largest shops. I don't see your team putting the same kind of attention to developing strategies on that front, the same way that I see your team on capital development putting strategies in front of us, allowing us to actually inform, give feedback, and really grapple with the issues that are at hand. I try to be very patient because I do see that we don't have the same kind of acrimony from residents the way we used to. So I understand that you are on the ground, that you are putting in the footwork that needs to happen. For example, I had the opportunity to visit one of the service centers. Anton and his team had an opportunity to walk us through the floor and start to unpack some of the strategies that he is working on. And I appreciate that, but that's the stuff that needs to happen in our committees. It needs to happen for all the commissioners to sit there and to be in the trenches with you and solving these problems alongside of you. So I want to go on the record and let you know that's not what's happening. We need to understand, and we need to be a part of what you are working through. We still have a long way to go. So, I'm giving you this feedback in partnership because I respect the heart with which you show up to work.
Thank you, Commissioner Silla, but I'm going to beg to differ with you in this sense. When we all came on board, we took this training, lead the way training with HUD. And one of the things that was emphasized there, and was emphasized again to me recently when I went to the NARO conference and took some more training for commissioners, is that it's not the role of the commissioner to get deep involved in the day-to-day operational stuff. And so one of the things I would say to you and to Commissioner Jones, who heads that committee, is we got to find a balance, because I think you all have gone too far in terms of getting involved in the day-to-day operations. That is responsibility of the executive director. Our role as the board is to hire the executive director and to hold that person accountable. But we have to figure out where we can draw the line between, again, getting too involved, in some cases interfering with the day-to-day operations and the ability of the director and his team to do what they feel is best in the direction that they want to go for the agency. And so, we can have some further conversation on that.
I would absolutely like to.
Okay.
Yes, I think we should immediately after this meeting. We probably should have a conversation about that. Yep.
Okay, with that, I'm sorry, Director, just one other issue. You talked about some new divisions coming on board, asset management, sustainability unit, and a lot of new people. I would like to see an organization chart so we can see where all of these people fit. I mean, I think I have a pretty good sense of where the boxes fall, but I'd like to see that on paper.
So just so you know, plan is to have the org chart done by the first quarter of next year. There's a lot of moving parts, and we're starting to meet with department directors now. Again, I think I may have mentioned before, and if I have, forgive me for repeating myself, but I wanted to give myself as well as a lot of new team members an opportunity to sort of assess and observe the departments and the people over a period of time. And so before I would stand and talk to them about whether or not we're going to be restructuring departments, how we're going to do it based on certain individual strengths versus their weaknesses. And so, we want to, so the goal was, we set out a goal to have it done by the first quarter of next year.
All right, great. Okay, so let's move on. Next item on the agenda is public testimony. We'll start with the resident testimony first.
First, actually, I want to make sure I remind everyone, in order to get off of mute, it's *6. The first resident I'm going to call is former Commissioner Aquarius Van Gossary. I'll move forward. Next, we have, I believe it is Gerania Jones. I move forward. Next, we have Colleen Edwards.
Hi, how you doing today? Can you pass me for about 2 participants, please?
Sure, Ms. Edwards, I'll come back to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure. I have next former Commissioner Kenneth Council.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I hear all the accolades, and I want to say that I'm trying to figure out. Well, I won't go there anyway. Good afternoon, everyone. My concern is the lead in the mold. There is a disconnect. I'm trying my best to figure out. Just today, as I was walking in my unit, a resident came up to me about mold. She's dealing with cancer. She says inspectors have come out weeks ago and no one has done anything about her unit. That's 326 apartment 4 DuPont. We have a sick building with one unit that's filled, 273 37 Place, 267 37 Place, and 253 37 Place. I don't understand. This is about my 4th time talking about lead and mold, and no one has done anything about it. You all have said that you all are doing things about bringing contractors in, and I'm trying to figure out what kind of work that they're doing. I don't see any company trucks that's handling the abatement. They're going in, putting up sheetrock, covering it up, putting new appliances in, putting people in the units, telling you all what they've done, or 90 or 100 within 30 days, or however the numbers they're giving you. It's a false narrative. Commissioners, please get from behind the desk and walk out and see it for yourself. I'm getting phone calls, and I remind them I am a former commissioner, but there's staff that's not being treated respectfully or right. I try to tell them the proper chain command, but with the return of some of the union leaders, even HR, they're still being blackballed or treated horribly. So whatever that they're telling the commissioners, it's a false narrative. Please, my last question to you all, with this new election and what's happening in January, where does or how does Housing Authority look? Have a great day.
Thank you.
Next, we have Patricia Bishop.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hi, Ms. Bishop.
First, I'd like to wish y'all a happy Thanksgiving. I know I won't see you, but eat all you can eat and eat some for me too, especially the healthy food. Okay. I just want to state the good trouble train. It's working. It's just got to move a little faster and a little better for everyone. So throw some more coal in there, but throw the right kind of coal. Help the people that you elected and chose to serve. You're doing a wonderful job, Director Pettigrew. We just need to look at the overall picture of everybody's complaints. Get this done. The staff members and everybody need to make sure that DC housing becomes the best in this DMV area of taking care of the issues for the people. Appreciate you. Send us some love to everybody, and let's do this. Okay? My second part, to speak on the publication of 70 emergency proposals being released. I'll look forward to hearing more about that one also. Y'all have a wonderful day. See you soon.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank
Bishop.
you.
I want to go back to Ms. Edwards. Ms. Edwards, are you available now to present your testimony?
Yes, I am. How are y'all doing today?
Good.
I got my voucher about 10 years ago. I'm a housing choice voucher participant, a federal voucher participant. And it was a blessing when I got my voucher. I was excited. I went to my briefing and we had people come in and tell us our rights, not only our responsibilities, but what our rights were as tenants. They helped us find housing. They helped us not be discriminated against. And, I appreciated my voucher. Recently, I'm starting to feel like this authority is violating my rights. I've had staff members tell me there's no grievance procedures and tell me that there's no fair hearings when I actually did an apprenticeship with you all. And I appreciated that. And I learned a whole lot. I got my leasing certification. I was on edge with working with housing because I was a little fearful and I didn't apply immediately. But I'm still a participant of your program. I've visited the H Street location and I wasn't aware that there's a new sign-in procedure, but embedded in this sign-in procedure is a legal document that I signed unknowingly and unwillingly. And multiple participants are doing this and they're not aware of it. I think it's unethical, immoral, and should be illegal for participants to be signing anything without their knowledge or consent. So I'm asking your council to, review this sign-in procedure, and I will work with you behind the scenes. This is not right, and I don't appreciate it, and I don't like it. Thanks for letting me share.
Thank you.
Next, we'll go to Sheena McGill, and I understand Commissioner Blackson, you're going to read her testimony into the record?
Yes, Shanita, thank you.
Sure.
Good afternoon. This is from Sheena McGill. She says, good afternoon, Director Pettigrew, Anton Shaw, and members of the STAR Board. I want to thank DCHA and the Star Board for the increase in voucher amounts. The increase is a big help when it comes to the cost of living out here. Obtaining housing is a start for us. Also, the fact that upper management is listening to the residents' concerns means so much. I can't speak for all residents, but I can speak for myself that I am grateful and very appreciative for DCHA understanding and addressing our needs as residents. I also want to thank Mrs. Deborah Jackson for conducting my briefing, making sure we all understood how to proceed with our vouchers. The information provided was very helpful moving forward with the understanding of how to look for a home, how to understand rent reasonableness, and how it helped understand the process. I only had submitted one RFT packet due to the information provided and her teaching and making sure we as residents understood. I also want to thank the call center. It's not one time I called and didn't get the results needed. The call center has been a big help. Also, I want to thank the inspection department for responding in a timely manner, very quickly. As I see and hear many complaints, I followed protocol and had no issues and was very patient. Commissioner Blackson, I would like to thank you as well for being an amazing resident commissioner. I have witnessed your time, your efforts into making sure residents enjoy family functions, helping families over barriers in which they are currently dealing with. You are an amazing commissioner with patience, time, and a heart of gold. Thank you all. Have a wonderful day. I wish I could have attended, but I have a matter which prevented me from attending. Thank you again. It's a pleasure to know housing finally have a team of hope. It's a start, and a start with attempts to improve with progress means a lot of thank yous because you are part of the change for the better. Thank you, Sheena McGill, and her phone number is listed.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Next, we have Donna Towns. Next, we have Paulette Matthews, and once again, *6 to unmute yourself.
Hello, everybody. How y'all doing today? As she stated, this is Paulette Matthews. I'm actually on the phone today for several different reasons. First, I want to start off with talking about Berry Farms because I'm a former resident of Berry Farms, and the fact that POA had been paying the storage fee for our belongings. We've had a conversation several months down the line in which that conversation had came up, and it was stated that we wouldn't have to worry about it. Well, December is a couple of blinks of an eye away, and I'm just trying to find out because I am one of those individuals who still have stuff in the storage unit and in fear of maybe possibly losing it because of the increase of the rent, but still knowing I have things in there that I want to bring back to this house that I'm now trying to bring back to a home because I just recently moved back in here from 1281V back to where I live due to the floors. And trust me, everything, it looks beautiful, but it was totally an inconvenience. It still is an inconvenience. I haven't really been able to enjoy the beauty and all of that that's going on in there because I am still unpacking boxes, finding out that these boxes have become crackerjack boxes. Every time I open up a box, I find a surprise. Something is broken. Some things I don't see. I don't know at this point what to do. My house look like a maze. I have back problems, and here I'm talking about storage that I brought in when I moved here that I haven't been able to address. And then on top of this that I'm dealing with my back problems, that I'm having problems with getting it back together as it once was. It was 6 or 7 moving guys. It was just one of me. And it's also one of me going through all of these boxes. There were several different things that were taking place with these contractors and having the opportunity for them to be in our houses several hours a day. I've talked to the director about that. A lot of things I have already spoken with them, and I'm quite sure that they will be resolved. I want to thank the director along with Miss Eve, Miss Davis, Mr. Griffin, and a lot more of their staff members who have helped me throughout my massive emotional stress situations, because it could go from 0 to 1,000 real quick. And somehow or another it's working its way down, but it seems to always go back up because nothing is constant but change, but how the change is being done. So that I would like to hear about far-wise is what's going to happen with these units and who's going to deal with it. And I can talk to either the director or anyone else in the housing authority about these things that are lost or stolen. I just got paperwork from Mr. Bolton finally today, so I'm gonna fill that out. So all in all, I'm just trying to get my mind back together and get my house back together to be the home that I once was living in prior to this floor situation, and still trying to get things done as I speak. The new air conditioning unit is broke, and they're out there doing whatever they're doing out there. But you know, with some things come good things, some things come bad things. But in the midst of it, I'm the one that has to deal with it, and it's very overwhelming.
Thank you, Ms. Matthews. Next, we have Harpreet Chima. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Hi, yes, you pronounced it perfectly. Thank you. Hi, my name is Harpreet Chima. I am an individual who's working with vulnerable communities in the area recently in regards to their housing and other resource needs. And thank you for the opportunity to speak today. Through my work, I've seen how critical it is to empower residents who are trying to navigate the housing and other needs by providing them better tools to help so that they can self-serve when they can, whether it's streamlining the process of reporting maintenance issues with their housing and offering digital tools to help them track applications or connecting them with local services other than housing, but they are related services. I additionally, fostering community engagement, I have noticed is very essential because residents are given opportunities to connect, collaborate, contribute. It builds a lot of trust and strengthens the overall fabric of our community. Simple, actionable initiatives like, feedback platform, being able to give feedback on a more regular, ongoing basis. Except not many people can make to these forums, perhaps. I also encourage the board to prioritize investments in tools and initiatives that empower the residents, foster these collaborations, and ensure that everyone has access to the support that they need. I thank you for your time and to all that you do and all the wonderful job that you've already done to serve the community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Daniel Del Peliego.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Daniel Del Peliego with Empower DC.
Good
I
afternoon.
wanted to bring up a couple of, in prep for this hearing, I always speak with residents, and I heard a couple of things that I wanted to bring to the attention of the board, but also of the staff. A couple of things related to Greenleaf Senior. I've heard that there is an out-of-hand rat issue with the chutes there, where residents are afraid to put their trash, down the chute, because as you open them, rats will jump out. They're hearing rats running through the ceiling above their heads, and it's really getting out of control, where residents are having to carry their trash. Those that can, of course, it's a senior and disabled property, outside, so they don't have to deal with a rat problem. So really want to encourage some follow-up on that, as well as the issue with the elevator. It appears that there are two elevators at 1200. One has been out for a very long time. Residents aren't 100% sure. I don't want to say a rumor, but what residents have heard is that there's not enough money to inspect the second one. I don't know if that is true, but nonetheless, what's happening there is that there is only one elevator that is operational, and that one sometimes goes out. So that makes it very difficult for seniors and folks with disabilities to get up and down from their unit. Sometimes they're stuck on that first floor or stuck in their unit because they can't come out if the elevator is not operational. So wondering if, what is the reason that the other elevator is not working? When will it be operational, given the need that there is in that building? I've also have a quick question. I don't know if it'll be answered now, but I've heard now from several residents around concerns around their ledgers not being accurate, where either ERAP money or just their regular payments are not attributed to the statements that they receive, saying, where they are with their rent, the monthly statements. And if there is, if they feel that there is some sort of error on these ledgers or statements, who can they follow up with? Because I believe they've tried the property manager, but that has not worked. So is there anybody, outside of the property manager office that could help folks really get a handle on what is happening with their payments and their schedules? So I was going to ask, I think Ms. Glassman said at the past oversight hearing that by mid-November, you'd be able to share what open items there were still with the HUD, with all the HUD stuff that was going on from the report. But I think that was alluded to earlier, so I will just leave that at that. So thank you for this time.
Thank
And
you.
hopefully we can get some answers to the questions that I just asked.
Director and deputy director are taking notes, and I'm sure they will follow up and talk to the residents and see what's going on.
Thank you.
And then we have Rachel Drizzen. Chairman, that concludes resident and non-resident testimony.
Okay. Thank all of you who've provided testimony today. Where we indicated we would follow up, we will certainly do that. Okay, next on the agenda are our committee reports. And I'm going to start with the Committee on Operations and Administrative Services. Commissioner Jones.
Thank you. So we met on November the 1st and we discussed two resolutions. Resolution 2448, which is to authorize the execution of contracts for grounds, maintenance, and landscaping services. And if I'm not mistaken, is it Amy who's talking to this one?
I think it's probably Jean.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Jean?
Yes. So we're bringing forward you to propose the resolution, this resolution to authorize the execution of multiple grounds maintenance and landscaping services. And we have the contractors listed here, and the total amount of the aggregate is 1.7 million for these contracts, subject to the availability of funds. And just to provide some background, the property management operations is responsible for the property management, maintenance, and upkeep of the grounds for the agency. They collaborated with the OAS, the Office of Administrative Services, to develop a scope that addresses the concerns related to the grounds maintenance and landscaping services. There are 15 properties that are included within these services. And the department currently has limitations in capacity of labor resources and equipment. And therefore, we had to put out a procurement to assist with the manicuring of the grounds and general routine landscaping as needed at each of these properties, as well as the beautification to enhance the curb appeal and add value to promote a sense of pride to our residents. And I also do want to point out that OAS is working to ensure that all of the proposed contract awards under this resolution meet the level of service expected by the agency. Therefore, all of the contractors shall be subject to performance evaluations. Those performance evaluations will result in the continuance of the services with those contractors as well. And again, if there's any questions, please ask.
From the commissioners? Anyone who's remote, any questions? If there are no
No.
questions, sorry, go ahead. No. Okay, if there are no questions, I will entertain a motion to approve resolution 24-48 to authorize execution of contracts for grounds maintenance.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote.
Sure. Commissioner Lee?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Harris?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Reed?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Dickerson?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Blackson?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Murphy?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Silla?
Yes.
Thank you. And Chairman Skinner.
Yes.
The motion is approved.
Okay, thank you.
So the next.
Jones.
Yes. The next resolution, 2452, is to authorize publication of the seventh emergency and proposed regulation of the District of Columbia Housing Authority's administrative plan. And Amy will be speaking.
That one I could talk about.
I reversed.
Right, so, we are, as folks know, we've been sort of extending our administrative plan through emergency regulations while we awaited, feedback from HUD. As Director Pettigrew said earlier, we are moving to finalize that and so that we can sort of get out of the emergency regulation cycle in, I think, by February. So this resolution would extend the administrative plan emergency regulations, hopefully for the last time. With the expectation that, the next time we consider this, that we will be hopefully presenting a final plan. Right. So these remain unchanged from the last, for the sixth version that was approved by the board. So it really would just be extending the existing admin plan as is.
Any questions?
I guess I had a question, Amy, and I think the director addressed this in his opening remarks. He said he was hoping to finalize these early next year. Is there a chance that with this 128-day extension that this could be the last? Well, I shouldn't put it that way because obviously there's a chance. Is it likely that this is the last extension and the next time we see this, it will be the final?
That is our goal. I mean, that's really, we're working really, really hard to try to have this be the last. I can't say there's not a chance, but I mean,
That's what
we're
we're
really,
working
really trying to avoid that.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
So, this, Commissioner, if I have my way, this is the last.
Right.
I talked to Commissioner Jones about it, since we need to get off this wheel
Yes.
of just extending and extending.
And it
even
may be
if-
some tough choices and that's okay,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not gonna solve it all, and we
Yeah.
talked to HUD about it as well.
Agreed.
We're not gonna solve it all completely by February, but we're gonna get to some semblance of a version that we're gonna put for a vote to get it off this cycle so we can move forward, because we gotta update it annually anyway.
The goal is to get it into sort of good enough shape so that an annual update will sort of be sufficient, but we sort of recognize that there's a number of there's a bunch of cleanup and sort of some other changes that need to happen sort of in this next round. But, as Director Pettigrew said, it's not going to be perfect, but it's going to, and there may be issues that we, sort of decide, like, the board and others decide to address in the next revision.
Yeah.
But it will at least get us to a to a final.
That would be fantastic.
And hopefully a decent, hopefully a better final
Yeah.
than what we have.
Yeah.
Good. Any other questions from those who are remote? No? If not, then can we get a can we get a motion to approve resolution 24-52. Second,
Second.
roll call vote.
Sure.
Commissioner Reed?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Silla?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Lee?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Harris?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Dickerson?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Blackson?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Murphy?
Yes.
Thank you. Chairman Skinner?
Yes.
The resolution is approved.
Okay, Commissioner Jones, anything else from the Operations Committee?
That's it for now.
Okay, thank you.
Can I make a suggestion, Mr. Chairman? Just rather than spend board time on this, I'm just wondering if it might be, given that the voucher program is in your committee, it might be helpful. I would ask that maybe you guys consider just going a little bit deeper on the vouchers issued that aren't yet leased yet. That number just continues to rise and it continues to be concerning. And we don't need to talk about it today, but I would feel better knowing that a committee was sort of looking at that issue and had their sort of head around what's going on there and what we're trying to do about it.
Okay, moving on, I'm going to call on you, Commissioner Blackson, for a report on the Resident Services Committee.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, my name is Denise Blackson. For those of you all listening, I am the Commissioner Chair of the Resident Service Committee. Currently in last month's committee meeting, as you know, you may hear me say time and time again, at this time, we're focused on safety because that's the thing that I hear about most from residents and residents leaders, and we're addressing safety on many different levels. While in NARO, I had the pleasure of meeting a gentleman named Mr. Reed, and he was from Pioneer Technology Company. So I had him as a guest speaker at the last committee meeting, and his focus is on their agency works with safety and safety with the smart burner. We've had a lot of fires and some dealing with seniors with fires in their units. So I thought that presentation would be good for DCHA to consider them services in the future. You can just look up Pioneer Technology Company if you want a little more information on what they have to offer, but they have these burners that are like if someone had put a paper towel on the burner, it would not burn. And that would be something good if you if you left something on the stove too long, it's a safety mechanism already inside of the actual burner. And we want that for our residents. So when properties are being rebuilt or considered to be remodeled, smart burner may be an option for us at DCHA. So on my committee chair, I try to bring different presenters that can do things that's good for the residents and the residents' home. Right now, I'm focused on my Block by Block initiative, which this program is a monthly program where we meet with resident leaders and they are trained on different things with a certification. They have been trained so far. We've only had 2 in-person meetings and a third one will be next week. But they are educated on Narcan training, stop the bleed, and given the trauma and experience as residents that are living in public housing or just throughout the city, whether you're in public housing or not, it's very important that we are equipped with valuable knowledge to respond in critical situations. Many leaders were very receptive to the presenters and the training. I've done surveys, I received surveys. I even had the pleasure of having Commissioner Murphy join us at the last month's Block by Block meeting. And I welcomed him sharing his feedback. And just to say, the Resident Service Committee right now, our focus is on safety. It resonates through our discussions, as you can see. And, we have to learn and we have to listen and we have to understand and hear our residents. And safety is a main concern across the DCHA portfolio. And this is what our committee is focused on right now. And we work very well with the Office of Resident Services and that's Director Harris and also Fashad Tyler. You know, I appreciate the director, Keith and his team for being a part of the Block by Block initiative and coming to the meetings and being able to answer questions or concerns that resident leaders may have or brought from their prospective properties. Again, my name is Denise Blackson. I am a resident commissioner and I can be reached at 202-250-4451. You can look on the website and get my email, but that's what the Resident Service Committee focus is right now. And thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Blackson. Any questions, comments?
I appreciate, yeah, I mean, I could just say, I really appreciated the invitation, and it was a really good meeting. The public safety issues that were raised were palpable, and you could not, you can't walk away from hearing what some of our residents said and not feel like we need to do some things. I think I'm appreciative. I think I saw in the notes in this month's public safety report, I think I saw some of the issues that were raised. There was a response from DHA's police department, and I was encouraged to see that. Really good to see that the responsiveness, but it was a good meeting and appreciated Commissioner Blackson's leadership.
Thank you, Murphy, Commissioner Murphy. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Commissioner Black.
Thanks, Chair.
Okay, so Commissioner Murphy, I'm going to give you the floor to report on the Capital Projects Committee.
Sure. We had a good meeting. We got a briefing, an update on the Henson 1 project that we've talked about pretty extensively. And I think we're going to shortly, I believe before the end of the year, we should have a resolution to try to keep that project moving forward. We also got a briefing on a subset of the Henson 2 project that also will probably be taking some board action on soon. So that there were just some briefings on the progress that staff is making on those projects. And then we spent the bulk, I think folks will be glad to hear that we spent the bulk of our time talking about the larger project that we have been engaged on for some time now, about thinking about what is the strategy and how we approach the redevelopment of the portfolio. And what are the tools we use? What are the evaluation tools that we're going to be using to decide what financial tools are the right ones to use for various projects, which will help us then start thinking about how to sequence projects that we know we're all eager to get to. So it's been a long time coming, but it does feel like we're really starting to make good progress on coming up with a plan that I think that the board should see fairly soon. And I want to thank David and Sheila for their leadership on that, and thank the committee.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, comments? If not, then we're going to move into the Budget and Finance Committee. Commissioner Reed.
Okay. Thank you, Chairman, and good afternoon, everyone. So we had a good meeting earlier this month in the Budget, Audit, and Finance Committee. We heard a financial update from Heather and really sort of looked at the progress the teams have made over the course of FY24. We know that they're focused on the 24 close. The agency is also preparing its FY26 budget submission, both operating and capital, to DC government. And then we also went through some of the work that both Heather's team and Petuna's team are doing on the OIG audit and implementation of new software to help with our budgeting and our execution. We also heard a review from Petuna about the sort of look back at fiscal year 24 and the audit and compliance work that was done, including the progress they've made on training agency staff on the fraud, waste, and abuse policies, and then also looking at what audits are planned by Petuna and her team for FY25. And then I also understand from Heather, I believe that the budget guide that we talked about when we approved the FY25 submission budget to HUD, the team is working on that. This is going to be sort of our first public guide to residents and other stakeholders, just trying to be more transparent about our finances and where our money goes. So I'm really looking forward to that. And I think we're hopefully going to get that out before the end of the year. And that's it from me.
Any questions? Comments? So Commissioner Reed, when I looked at the materials, I noticed that there was a large variation between the actual versus budgeted. Look at the bottom line and the budget. There's a large variation. I didn't go line by line to kind of see where some of those were. But can you just overall talk about why there's such a large variation there?
Yeah, and I'm going to ask for the director and Heather's help on this as well, just to make sure that I don't misstate anything. But I will say that, a lot of the work that's been done in fiscal year 24 is really trying to bring in, we've been bringing in some consultants from BDO to really make sure that the budgets and actuals are in the right places. So a lot of the variance that you're seeing is really due to the fact that expenses just were not placed in the right categories. And then what I would say is overall, we just saw less expenditures in especially administrative areas as the agency was staffing up. Heather, I don't know if you could provide a little bit more detail.
She's on screen.
Okay.
Sure, yes, I'm here. Good afternoon, everybody. Heather Mueller, CFO. So as you know, when I came in, we were essentially working in the years 21, 22, 23, and 24. And so 24 is a year of a lot of catch up. And so anything that we were catching in the three audit years, we were fixing in 24, we were trying to get trued up in the year 24 to move forward. We found a backlog of accounts payable, that we had to catch up on. We had some old invoices that we paid in 24 from previous periods. And we also trued up our operating subsidies, which caused more expenses in 24. We had found that for the last few years, they hadn't been trued up. We have several third-party regulatory and operating agreements with third-party companies where we pay for our public housing subsidy. We're like a pass-through entity, so we give them funds and we keep, for example, like 5% for administrative burden. So we trued all that. That hadn't been trued up in the past. So those are just a few examples.
Okay, thank you.
And Chairman, if I could just add, I think that's one of the frustrating things I know for the director and Heather and other leadership is like the reports are only somewhat useful because there's so much data cleanup that's hadn't been having to go on. So after that work is done, and I think, Heather, this should be done by the end of the calendar year, then we should really be able to use these reports to ask and, we should really be able to use these reports for what they're intended to.
Yeah, so we really don't have a good baseline. So like in the budget training that we went over back over the summer, we're trying to make 25 a baseline year so that we can build better budgets going forward and produce those accurate financial statements for you guys that are easy to read and understand and follow.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Reed, anything else?
No, thank you.
Okay. So the next item on our agenda is what we call commissioners' time. So I'm just going to go around and ask any commissioners if you have any issues you want to bring up. I'll look first to those who are remote. Commissioner Dickerson.
No, I don't have any issue right now. Yeah.
Commissioner Lee, Commissioner Reed.
No comments, thank you.
Commissioner Blackstone.
Oh, sorry, Chairman, could I just raise one issue? So I just wanted, because Commissioner Murphy had brought up earlier the voucher question and utilization, and I just wanted to share that this morning we had a meeting that the Office of the City Administrator hosted between the DCHA team and DHS teams on ways that we can both improve operations and other ideas to make the process move faster and move more streamlined, like how we all want to get. So I think that there's probably some benefit of sharing some of those outcomes with the board at a future meeting, and maybe as like an education session, because I do think there's a lot of opportunity there and a lot of things that both entities are putting in place to speed up the process. Part of it is just getting through, the really big backlog, but I think it would be good for us to just as a board talk about that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, this is Commissioner Blackson. I just wanted to share that I had the opportunity to also visit the 702 8th Street site in Chinatown, and I attended one of the briefings for new voucher holders. And I was able to speak with the residents after the training was over, and it was great. They have this video now that showed the detail, have a lot of detail on things you need to do as a voucher recipient from the beginning to end. And I spoke with some of the residents who had a voucher prior. And I've also sat in some of them voucher briefings in the past. And I can say this time it is one of the best, very informative, so much clearer understanding the voucher process. Being an active commissioner who received a lot of feedback and also complaints or concerns from residents about the voucher process. This was a really great presentation, and being able to actually talk to the residents who were receiving their vouchers after that briefing was great. I was able to share some things that I know firsthand and process and ways they can go about utilizing that voucher. And I was also able to speak with them from a case management point of me doing case management, also able to speak as a resident, as a commissioner who gets a lot of feedback from it, and also able to share with them the utility process of the voucher coming from that specialty from my agency. I can just say that it was great. I got a lot of great feedback. I received emails and calls from some of the actual residents who was in attendance. And I asked the ones who were prior voucher recipients that had sat in briefings before, did they like when a DCHA representative was speaking, or did they like the video? And they were like, the video was great. It is a much better experience being able to watch the video, and it covers a lot. Just want to share that and thank Mr. Shaw and his team for allowing me to sit in on the briefing and able to speak with some of the recipients.
Thank you. Anyone else? Go ahead.
I have a quick question.
Commissioner Harris.
In regards to the testimony from earlier from one of the residents, she mentioned that there was a non-disclosure form being asked to be signed at the 8th Street location. Do we know what that is?
We were just texting about, we're not, well, go ahead.
Yeah, so we have an iPad for families to sign in. We also have a physical sign-in for anyone who goes with the iPad. But in terms of any kind of disclosure, I'm gonna double check when I get back to the office, make sure there's no fine print there, but there should not be. The only questions asked are why your attendance day. Are you there for a voucher briefing, or are you there to drop documents off and so on? So if there's anything for the iPad, just an acknowledgement, I'll double check when I get back.
Okay.
As far as I know, no.
Okay, that's all I got right now. Thank you.
So, as you know, when the Star Board was put in place, we were given a 2-year term, which expires at the end of December. I don't know if everyone is aware, but I guess before they went on recess, the council passed an emergency bill to extend the life of the Star Board and Amy, correct me if I'm wrong, that has still not gone through congressional approval, so it's not in effect yet. So once that happens, either 90 or 120 days from then, the starboard will be extended. So that's well into 2025. In the meantime, the council, the mayor are talking about permanent legislation. As you may recall, we had recommended to the mayor and council that this board, the current board, be extended for 1 year. Given the timing of this emergency legislation, at this point, I'm just not sure what's going to happen. But I know that the Chairman White and his committee, the Housing Committee of the Council, they're looking at what they're calling permanent legislation for a governing board for the Housing Authority. So, and they will, I think the plan is to release that sometime in December and have a hearing on it at that time. So we're not sure at this point exactly what the status of the starboard will be going forward, but we will continue with business as usual until we're told otherwise. I don't know, Amy, if you want to say anything.
I think you covered it.
So the other thing is, so typically in the December meeting, we have what's called the annual meeting of the board. And at that time, I think, appoint a vice president, maybe committee chairs, I think. So given the status of the starboard, are we going to proceed with that at the December meeting?
I mean, it'd be my recommendation that we do, because we don't have any, I think we do, the business as usual, right? I mean, I think we also usually do an ethics training, I think during that as well, conflict of interest ethics, that kind of thing. And so we've been working on that as well.
Okay, anything else? Okay, so with that, the next Board of Commissioners meeting will be held on Wednesday, December the 11th, 2024, at 1 p.m. It's going to be held via WebEx. Information regarding viewing and participating in the meeting can be found at our website, www.dchousing.org. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Hello. Motion.
All in favor? The meeting is adjourned.